Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am extremely excited today to give you a first look at the Yamaha CC1 control surface. This is, at the time of this recording, something that's very difficult to get your hands on. I ordered it, I paid for it, it wasn't sent to me, so this is going to be an honest review. But I'm very excited to take a look at this today, to unbox it with you, to get it set up. The concept here is that you take a Stream Deck and you combine it with the MIDI control surface with the motorized fader and all your basic transport controls. And what that gives you is the ability to map all these custom buttons, but also control your DAW in a really small footprint on your desk. Now, I am the target audience for a device like this. I have a Nektar CS12, but I find myself only using one portion of it for my workflow and for my use cases. So I'm hoping that I can save a little desk space and utilize this unit instead. So as we begin to unbox this and get this set up, we'll talk about what it does, we'll put it through its paces, and we'll even talk about the difference in use cases of something like this versus a different control surface that might be a little bit bigger and have different functionality. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed, set up, and dive in. All right, so here's the CC1 unit. We've got it unpackaged and on the desk. It's not plugged in yet, but it's very, very sturdy. It's got a metal case. The knobs, the jog wheel feels extremely smooth. The encoder knobs up here also extremely smooth, nice and tight. There's a press function for those as well, which you can program. You have your basic transport controls here. You got your play, record, stop, cycle. You have your channel selects. You can assign this wheel to just be a jog wheel, or you can enable through this AI button some really cool functionality. Now, this AI button is not actually artificial intelligence. In fact, I believe it stands for Advanced Integration. You have your standard start, stop, cycle, record, channel selects, mute, solo, read, write, and then of course the fader here. This fader feels fantastic, by the way. It's got just enough resistance to where you feel like you have a good grasp over where it is and the resolution of it, but it's also not so slippery that that you don't have control over it, and it's not gripping. So it's a really, really good feel for this fader. So I'm excited about that, excited to play it, and that is motorized. And then again, from here up is your Stream Deck. So you have a 4x3 layout here for your buttons, different banks. As I understand it, you can do unlimited banks. So I think what it's going to come down to, just for comparison, this is the Stream Deck XL, and this is the Stream Deck section of this. Now, I think what really is going to come down to if this device works for you or not is, do you need this many buttons at any one given time? So for me, because I can have banks, I think this is probably going to be good because I can program these buttons to be whatever I need for the task that I'm doing. So for example, if I'm recording raw audio, I might program these buttons to be things that would be part of that workflow, or if I'm doing MIDI composing, obviously different buttons, or maybe mastering, and I can just keep those all on different banks and jog between them. I don't know that I need all this, these buttons at any given time. So the proof's going to be in the pudding. We're going to put it through its paces and test it out, but I think that's what's really going to define if this device is for you or not. In terms of the Stream Deck integration, are those buttons enough for you to have at your disposal without having to go between different banks? Okay, so we're plugged in now, and this unit is lit up, and it's already got some buttons right at the top, so let's just jump into some of those. I'm on a brass track here, so if I press this should bring up the instrument, I would think. And it sure does. See if that closes it down too. It does. This should bring up the channel details. Closes it down. Good stuff. That's freeze the channel. This is your send amount. So you can turn on your sends and adjust the amount. You can see right there, which is kind of cool. This is open the details on your track. I'm interested to see if I put it on a folder track, if it'll expand and contract the folder. Sure does. So that's cool stuff. All right, let's look at the basic transport controls. So as you would expect, play. Plays it. You can cycle on and off by pressing that button, turn your cycle on and off. You have your record button there. You can see we've got jog enabled here. So let's go ahead and very smooth jogging back and forth. Really cool stuff there. you've got your motorized fader. So let me bring it to a track and adjust the fade settings. And you can use this to go to another track or another channel. And that'll jog between. And interesting, it's extremely responsive. Extremely responsive. But interesting that you can see I've got my Panorama CS12 back here. And let me see if I can get them both in the picture here for you. You can see the difference in timing. So as I go back and forth, the CC1 is actually half a second faster maybe in adjusting to the tracks, which, I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that it's much faster. So as you adjust your different track volumes, that works just fine. So that's great stuff. And then if you wanted to record, actually record some automation, we could go to, let's see if we can figure this out, right, press record. Okay, let's scroll back. You can see our automation is written in. And as we scroll through it, the motorized fader works with it. So if you have a lot of folders in your template, you can use this folder button to expand and contract your folders individually, which is kind of cool. So if I go from this one into, let's say, woodwinds, expand, contract, so on and so forth. So very cool stuff there. Let's see what the different banks are. So these are your EQs. This is probably something that I would not use quite as much. It's cool. It's a really cool feature. You have your low, mid-low, mid-high, and high, and you can adjust your different settings for that with the encoder. I'm so quick with the mouse just in terms of that type of stuff now that this is probably not something that I will get into very much, but for those of you who do a lot of EQing and want to feel the knobs and everything while you're doing it, this is a cool feature. And on this next page, looks like we have other EQ settings here. Some basic transport controls. And this is a bunch of mix console, next tool, zoom, full. So this is a bunch of tool type stuff here. So these are different settings for your, your various needs that you might have in the system. I'm going to have to go through obviously and set this up for, to my taste and to my workflow and what I do in it. So there is one thing I still wanted to try here, which is this AI button right here. I've been using this as a jog wheel up to this point, but let's try AI. So if you hover over anything on the screen, in this case I'll just grab this fader for the heck of it, press that AI button, and then you should be able to, yep, so you can see I'm controlling the fader with the jog wheel. Now if I press lock, I wonder if I'll be able to move off of it. So I take my mouse off of it, yep, sure enough, I'm still controlling it. So no, it doesn't matter where my mouse is, I'm still controlling that particular thing. And if I unlock it, I lose access to it. So that's actually really, really cool. There's one thing I can think I really want to try that with, and that's in my percussion. That would be, I'd love to give damage a try here and play with that damage button. So let's try to load that up real quick. So I'm in damage, and this is a setting I'd love to automate that I don't love using my mouse for. You can always right click and do MIDI CC learn and assign it to a fader or an encoder knob, but let's see if we can assign it through that AI function right to the jog wheel. So we're gonna go over this, press the AI button and lock, and see, yeah, see it's not giving me anything. I wonder if I can do learn MIDI CC. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to be stuck to the normal ways of assigning this button, it looks like, to a MIDI fader or something, which isn't the end of the world, but I was kind of hoping that this knob could become my damaged knob. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. If I'm overlooking something, put it in the comments, because just for fun, I'd love to be able to punish these damaged 2 drums with that jog wheel. Okay, so what's missing right out of the box? Well, there are loads of different banks here with different button assignments. I'm going to custom program my own buttons in to do the things that I need as part of my workflow. I'm probably going to use colorized buttons too, because I'm not loving just the black and white minimalist look here. I like my buttons to pop. And so I can do that through the control center they provide with it, which is this app right here. And you can go in and set up any of these buttons to do whatever you want them to do, and program them. You got your different banks here. You can have, as I understand it, unlimited banks, Stream Deck links, so we can actually go ahead and link it with the Stream Deck software and control it from there. So I'm going to go through and do some custom programming, but what's missing here, just right out of the box, unless I overlooked it, I didn't see a button for bringing up my mixer. So that's one I'd want, that I would use all the time. I'll probably, I'll definitely put a button in here for render audio in place, because when I'm doing MIDI audio, there's a lot of times where I like to render it in place, or even if I'm recording a guitar and I've got effects on it, I like to commit to those effects. So render in place would be a really nice thing to have here as well. I'll probably set up these encoder knobs, because the send is really cool. But I don't think that I'm going to use this a ton for adjusting my send volumes. So I'll probably set up these encoder knobs to do things like zoom the workspace, both vertically, maybe vertically and horizontally. Maybe pressing one of these would set a marker, so I can set markers throughout my project. So there's some things that I do all the time from a workflow perspective that I'm going to use this for. And obviously I'll need to set it up appropriately for that. But really everything from here down is exactly, it's perfect. The fader is incredible. It feels incredible. All the rotary knobs and the jog wheel feel incredible. The buttons have a nice satisfying pop to them when you press them. The only thing I'm missing is an undo button. So I use that undo button quite a lot. So from here, normally I'd like to see an undo button, but I'll just pop one of those up here and we'll be good to go. Maybe there's a multi-button press that does actually undo without having to use this real estate. But if you do know of one, drop it in the comments, and if I'm missing something. But other than that, incredible. You can see the metal chassis is getting a little bit smudgy, as I use it. I just took this out of the box, minutes ago, and clean hands and everything, and it's gets a little bit smudgy, so I can see wanting to to clean it off and keep it looking sharp. So overall, fantastic piece of kit, but the question might be, why would you buy one of these as opposed to the Nektar CS12, the Panorama CS12? And my answer to that is, I love this piece of gear, by the way. This is incredible. I've really enjoyed working with it. I'm going to have to work these both into my workflow and see which one makes the cut. I really like the customizable buttons up here right on the unit, as opposed to bringing my Stream Deck XL into the equation here. You can notice over here on the CS12, I've got some printed labels here. So I actually hijacked the markers. When you click these off, it gives you an alternate state for all these buttons, and I actually hijacked those to kick off logical functions in Cubase. So that's kind of my Stream Deck workaround there. But it requires me clicking the marker button and then clicking my different command and knowing whether I'm in or out of that. I'd say the fader on the Yamaha feels a little tighter. You can see they're both moving in unison. They seem to be about the same in terms of responsiveness. I mean, the CS12 is a little bit behind, but you can definitely notice it when you record on a track and then let them both do their thing. So points to Yamaha CC1 on that front. But the main thing I think for the CS12 is that all this section over here, I don't particularly use that for what I do. I know that there's some people that love that, because you can get all of your plugins listed here, and then you can easily activate your plugins by clicking them or pressing on these buttons here, and then you have all of these knobs that are assigned. You can assign them to whatever, and I think that's really cool. But to me, there's a little bit of a disconnect between the hardware and the screen when it comes to really tweaking all my knobs over here. I find I'm spending more time trying to look at the screen, look at the hardware, and even with the color coding, determine what's what I could actually do it much faster just with the mouse and doing it on screen. So for me, everything from here over, I don't particularly use on the CS12. Now everything from here over, I love, but that's basically this. And with this, you have the added, Stream Deck integration and buttons built in. So, and then the last thing is that this is much sturdier feeling than the CS12. Now that may not matter to you if this just sits on your desktop, and you're not moving it a lot. It's sturdy enough. It's a hard plastic casing. I wish they'd done metal. They didn't, but that's fine because it is sturdy enough, and it feels really, really good. The fader feels good. The knobs feel relatively good. So nothing against the CS12 versus the CC1. Love them both. I think the question is just going to come down to, for your specific workflow, do you want to put fingers on knobs and control all this stuff from a device versus the screen? If the answer to that question is yes, the CS12 might be your best bet. And actually, this is a little bit cheaper than the Yamaha. If that doesn't matter to you and desk space is important, and you want to have programmable buttons and you want to ditch your Stream Deck and not have to use that and have it all in one unit, then this is for you, in my opinion, so far. So I'll give it a good month or two of usage, and then I'll do another video just kind of comparing the two. But that's, to me, the main difference in why you would use a CS12 versus a CC1. But overall, I'm extremely impressed just right out of the gates, right out of the box with what the CC1 does. And I will do a follow-up video once I have all my buttons programmed and kind of show off some of those features as well.